everybody, it's Kelsee Briana J, and in today's video I am going to be ranking all of the foundations that I tried in 2019. Okay, so I've tried a lot of different foundations this year, so I decided to comprise a list from the worst to the best foundation that I tried this year. So it was really hard for me to decide which one goes in which order, but it took me about a week and a half and I finally have come to this conclusion. Also, keep in mind that even with me doing this list and ranking them from my least to my most favorite, that does not necessarily mean that any of these foundations are bad. It's just when comparing it against others that have made this list, you know, they don't shine as much. So just keep that in mind. And with that being said, I'm gonna start off with my least favorite, which so happens to be the MAC Studio Fix Soft Matte Foundation Stick. Woo! I really did not enjoy this foundation stick, and I thought that I would love it just because I remember the MAC foundation stick being a completely different way than this one was. My mom used to swear by MAC's foundation stick. That was all she would wear. She loved it, and I just remember it being very thick but also very beautiful, like in a 90s 80s like makeup way. And so when I saw that they were coming back with the stick, I was so excited because I'm like, okay, now it's my chance. Now I'm gonna look like the speckled beauty queen that I'm supposed to look like. But then I got it and it really just didn't live up to that hype. I was like, this cannot be the same foundation stick. And lo and behold, it was not. It was little to no coverage. It took forever to blend it out. My color match was just, I tell you all that I wear NC42 by MAC, but truthfully, I wear NC43 because NC42 is just a touch too light unless I'm in my color that I am right now, which is my Dead of the Winter color. This is about as light as I get. Sometimes I might get like a little bit lighter, but overall this is my color. That color is just not a perfect match, and then NC44 is always too red and it's just a little bit too dark. So I wasn't a fan. It was dry. It clinged to every imperfection. So if I had a breakout, it was basically not sticking to the very top part of it, so the little pimple is peeking through and it doesn't have enough coverage to truly hide it. But then at the same time, your foundation looks thick around it, so it's like you just want to take a scraper and go take some of that off of there. And I just overall hated it. Next, I ironically have another stick foundation. You know, I was like, that's really weird because it's gonna seem like I don't like stick foundations to you guys, but I do like stick foundations. Actually, I love them, but they just have to have a certain je ne sais quoi that I feel like those two stick foundations just didn't embody. So just like the MAC stick foundation, the Milk Makeup stick foundation was also pretty dry. It looks like I went into my kitchen and sprayed Pam all over my face at the end of the day. So I was really confused as to how I started out with a drier finish but then worked my way to that. That just lets me know that my skin could not breathe, and I really wasn't happy with that. That's why that foundation landed so far down on the list. If you have drier skin, you might like it, but for me with combination skin, it just wasn't working out for me. Next, we have one that is super popular, and I know it is going to shock some people out there. This one is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. I know that so many people are going to be so surprised that this foundation landed so far down on the list. And let me tell you why it landed down here, okay? It wasn't that the formulation of the foundation was just so bad and I couldn't do anything with it. I actually thought the formulation was pretty average. So it wasn't bad, it wasn't good, it was just right there. It's nothing to write home about. If I didn't test this foundation for my channel, I likely wouldn't have bought it even if they did have a decent color match. Which brings me to my next point, the color matches. If you are a shade darker than Jennifer Lopez, Charlotte Tilbury does not understand how to do complexion for you. So I can find a few products within her complexion range, so I may be able to use a powder over here, I may be able to use a concealer over there, but overall her color development for the deeper complexions is horrible. every single time she has orangey shades. She has shades that are so far off on the undertone, and then I'm looking at them, there's big old gaps in between colors. I never can truly find a color that works for me. The color that I have, it made me look like a pumpkin, and I'm just like, Charlotte, your brand is too popular at this point to continue on with this foolishness. So therefore, that is why this foundation has landed so far down on the list, because I've tried so many other foundations this year and I just overall am underwhelmed with her colors. So like I said, the foundation is not bad, it's not great, but it's just those colors that just kill it for me every time. And I really thought that she was going to do better with this foundation, because this one was the most hyped up foundation launch for her. One of the most hyped up foundation launches of the entire year. But then this is what we're met with, and I'm like, no, no, no. She does not get it. She needs help developing colors for deeper complexions. Her line seems nice, but as far as creating products that are going to suit an array of complexions, it's not there yet. It's just not. So next I have the Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue Foundation. So I really don't have a lot to say about this foundation, and that's pretty much why it's landed here. So the foundation doesn't stand out in my mind one way or another. It doesn't stand out for being great. It doesn't stand out for being bad. I just remember trying it and I knew that I had to rank it somewhere on this list. So because I was so indifferent about it, I felt like this was an appropriate placement on the list, just because it was just okay, obviously. I wore it in that video maybe a few times beforehand just to get a little bit of an idea going of what I think about it. But overall, my mind is blank when I think about that foundation. So that's why it goes here. Not good, not bad. Kind of. Next, I have the Urban Decay Stay Naked Weightless Liquid Foundation. I'm in the middle, honestly. Like, I really don't love or hate it either way it goes. I do remember this foundation being a little bit drier than what I'm used to, so that kind of took me off guard. And on top of that, the color match for this foundation just never was 100% for me. It was always just a little bit too green, and I feel like Urban Decay either kills it with my color match or either they just don't quite hit it. It wasn't bad. It was definitely something that I could save, which I did, and I didn't mind it, but it just didn't stand out amongst some of the greats that I have here, so that's why it kind of fell a little bit down. Color match matters to me, even though I am a professional makeup artist, so I am able to mix some things and make it work. But when looking at these foundations in and of themselves, I need that product to work. And if it doesn't, then it may get knocked down some notches with me. So next on the list is the GUERLAIN L'Essential Natural 16-Hour Wear Foundation. So this foundation had been out for a while overseas, and I finally got my hands on it. And even though I had to order it, I was pretty certain that the color that I chose would be the color for me. And I was right. I was able to make that color work, even though it was just a little bit too light. But the reason why I wasn't in love with this foundation was because it didn't give me enough coverage, and it smelled like a flower bed. It was just entirely too strong of a scent. Now, the foundation was not bad. It just always smelled perfumes. And that scent never really went away all throughout the day. And so that really caused me to have a slight headache. That's why I'm like, you know what? I can't wear this foundation all the time, especially if I'm already dealing with sinus issues, because it is so strongly fragranced, which I know that a lot of you all are so against fragranced products. And if you are a person who is against that, then you stay all the way away from this foundation. This is probably the most heavily perfumed product that I have in my entire collection. Next on the list is the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie Long Wear Foundation and Concealer. So I really liked this. But again, I had so many other foundations that I had amassed this year that this one just kind of got pushed to the wayside, and I never revisited it. So this foundation gave a nice little amount of coverage. It has the concealer with it. You can kind of make some things shake if you don't have time to be carrying products around with you all day. But like I said, I already had so many other products that this one just didn't stand out enough for me to be like, where did I put that pure foundation? Like, I liked it, but it was just alright. So I debated on whether or not I should put this one on the list, but since it says that it is a foundation, I'm gonna rock with it. This is the Too Faced Born This Way Powder Foundation. And I like this powder, but I don't like it specifically for foundation. As a foundation, I'm gonna say I hate it, just because it's a little bit drier and it doesn't give me the coverage that I want. If I'm gonna use a powder foundation, I'm gonna use something that's a little bit silkier, like the MAC Studio Fix powder or either the Lancome Dual Finish powder, but that one just gives me setting powder. And that's what I used it for. So if I had to use it by itself, I guess I could, but it just doesn't give me enough coverage and it's just a little bit too dry for you, girl. So I would have to be heavily moisturized that day. So next on the list, we have the JUVIA'S Shade Stick Foundations, and I like these. I just recently did a video on them. I'm not sure if the video is going to be up before this or after this one, but these foundations are nice. They just are very full coverage, and nowadays, 2019, Kelsee doesn't really wear that full of a coverage for my complexion products, but if I did, I do like those and I like the finish that they give. So directly after that is JUVIA'S other complexion products, which is the I Am Magic Foundation, which I really like this foundation, but similar to the stick foundation, it again is a little bit too much coverage for me. So if I liked full coverage foundation, and by full coverage I mean it, not that little half step in full coverage that other people say. Some brands claim full coverage and y'all have to go in with 5 layers before you don't see your skin. JUVIA'S said that it's full coverage and they meant it. It's full coverage. You're not going to see your skin underneath. You can go in with too much product if you want to, but you will definitely not be able to see a speck of your skin underneath. So if you want to look perfect, spackled, not even real, like if you are trying to do some serious coverage, those 2 foundations will get you right. But for me, like I said, I don't really wear those type foundations anymore. But if I know that I need them, I know that I can reach for those and they'll do the trick. So coming up right after that is the DIOR Forever Skin Glow Foundation. Now, whenever I tried this foundation on, I thought it was really nice, very beautiful, very glowy. But it was something about how this foundation built up on my skin. I just felt like this foundation just sort of took a while to get it to look harmonious. So it really showed wherever I applied the foundation. So if I put too much right here, it showed that it was more foundation right here than it did over wherever else I had foundation. So if you applied 1 full layer on your skin, I feel like you had to apply another full layer on your skin if you just needed coverage right there. Some foundations are a little bit better with building up than others, but this one just didn't really give me that, and it took a minute to get the amount of coverage that I wanted it to be, because this foundation gave me the vibes of Armani Luminous Silk mixed with a little bit more dewiness, and it didn't give me that coverage to match that energy. So therefore, it was just an okay foundation for me. Next is the SURRATT Dewdrop Foundation. So I like this foundation. It's just very light coverage. But it said that it was light coverage, so it wasn't a surprise. I wasn't going in thinking I was going to get a full coverage foundation. I knew from the beginning that it was going to be a light coverage, very dewy-like foundation. So I know that I'll probably have that video up after this one. But just know that that foundation gives a really beautiful finish. But for me, I needed to mix in something else just to give me a little bit more oomph. So I have a little bit of discoloration on my chin area, down here on my jawline, and then I'll have like maybe something random going on with my skin. And that foundation evens you out. But if you need to cover something, you are going to have to go in with some a little bit more. So it's not necessarily giving me all that my heart desires. So it's just a foundation that I would reach for occasionally. Like if I were going to the gym or if I were going to the grocery store and I just wanted to throw something on so I'm not just completely naked faced. If I needed a little bit more coverage. But it's not necessarily something that I'm going to reach for and be like, oh my God, that's my holy grail. Because ever since I've done that video, to be completely honest, I forgot about it. Now is another full coverage foundation. But this one I've worn a lot. This one is the SMashBox Studio Skin Full Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. Whew. So I like this foundation a lot, but it is full coverage, so you need to have your correct color whenever you're wearing this foundation, because if not, it's so full coverage that you'll end up looking a little bit off. So you want to make sure that you're matching it perfectly. The color that I have, I bought it, I believe, in the summertime, and it's just not a good match for me right now. So I put this foundation on the other day thinking it was going to look all good on me and stuff, but then I look in the mirror and I'm like, ooh! That undertone is just a little bit too olive for you, baby. It's just a little bit too green. So I'm not able to wear mine right now, but I really like that foundation if you are going somewhere, especially out at night and you want to look flawless, because that foundation, once it's on your face, it is on there. It's not moving. You are going to look flawless all night or all day, whenever you choose to wear it, whatever's your business. But like I said, if that color is wrong, baby, it's not going to do you any favors. I'm just saying. But I really do like that one. Next, another polarizing one. This one is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation. And I like this foundation a lot. But it's got a lot of heat behind it because this foundation does have alcohol in it. And a lot of people are like, excuse me, alcohol, who, where, what? I drink alcohol and I put it on my face and I put it on my skin. And I'm not mad at you for that. But can I be real and tell you all that it didn't do anything to my skin, so I still like it and I'm going to wear it occasionally? Like I said in my review, you have to make up your own mind about that. But for me, that is not a deal breaker, especially since I rarely wear that foundation anyways. But that foundation was a perfect match for one. So that already gave it a little bit more brownie points than all the other ones. But also the finish of it was just so pretty. It was just this lightweight dream skin that I want to have. Like, I want my skin to look like that when I wake up. But I know that I have products that I can manipulate my skin into looking like that. So for now, that's okay with me. So I really like that foundation. So this is another DIOR foundation, which came out at the same time as the other DIOR foundation that was on the list. But this one ranks a little bit higher just because of the wear time of it. This one is the DIOR Forever's 24-Hour High Perfection Skin Caring Matte Foundation. I wouldn't say that it's a matte foundation. I would say that it's a satin foundation because it's not overly drying and it doesn't totally dry down all the way. So I would say maybe it's just a new school matte foundation, but I have other matte foundations on this list that are matte. And this one just doesn't really meet that qualification. So to me, it's a satin. But hey, tomato, tomato. But I really like this foundation because it is so beautiful on camera. In person, I just never loved it. I liked it, but on camera, it does something different to my skin. Every single time I have this foundation on and I'm on camera, I'm like, ooh, my skin looks good. More so than any other foundation that I pretty much even have in my collection. So that goes to show that different products can be for different things and different seasons and different reasons, honey. So next is a foundation from a Black-owned brand, Oma Beauty, which is a new brand that launched this year, and I was super excited about the entire brand. So I was like, okay, let me see what this foundation is talking about, because I fell so deep in love with the lipsticks. I was like, the foundation needs to still keep that same energy. And I tried it and it did. It's called the Say What foundation. This foundation is so bomb. It's so beautiful. It has a satiny finish, but it's more glowy than it is matte. So I really love that, and it's so pretty, and the color match is so bomb. And I'm like, okay, Oma Beauty, come through. And on top of this, this foundation has so many different claims to it. They further researched that within different groups, you're likely to have the same issues with your skin. So for me, I'm in the middle dark complexion range. So they have a whole list of things that they're addressing within the formulation of the foundation. I've never seen a brand tweak the same foundation within a range to fit the different needs of different skin tone groups. I thought that that was the coolest thing ever. I definitely think that is an innovative product and it has been slept on. So I wish them so much success in 2019, and I definitely am going to continue wearing this foundation just because that's bomb in and of itself. Next is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation. So now we're getting into my category of the foundations that I kind of loved a little bit. And this one is one of the ones because I love a luminous foundation. I love the way that it makes my skin look. It makes me look so radiant, so glowy, so afternoon delightish. Like, I love that. And I feel like it just made my skin look like a better version of itself. And that is always the goal with me. Like, I don't want to put on makeup to look like I have on a thick paste on my face. I want to put on makeup to enhance, not to hide. I want to look and feel beautiful. So this foundation does it for me, and I love anything that says luminous just because I'm here to be glowy. So this foundation has been one that has been in heavy rotation with me this year. Next is a foundation that I felt like was formulated so similarly to the Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation. So it really was hard for me to place which foundation was going to go where. But ultimately, this foundation came out on top just because the color match was just a little bit more perfect. And that is the ZOEVA Authentic Skin Natural Luminous Foundation. So this foundation melts into the skin in a good way, and it gives me such beautiful coverage and is luminous. Like I said, it is so similar to the Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation, but just this color is just a little bit more golden, and so it got a little bit more points. So moving on, I really loved this foundation because this is the answer for all my dry skin folks out there who have wanted to wear the Fenty Beauty foundation. So this one is called, and it's long so I'm going to read it, the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Hydrating Longwear Foundation. So for years, Fenty Beauty has had their same Pro Matte foundation, and so many people with dry skin were like, child, it ain't nothing I can do with that foundation. I put it on, my skin is like, and it feels like a desert on my face. So they came out with another foundation on the opposite side of the spectrum that was going to be a little bit more glowy. And lo and behold, my combination skin self loved it. I love the finish of this foundation. Whenever I put it on, my skin just feels so plump and so hydrated and so beautiful, but it doesn't feel heavy. So I love this foundation, and I love the primer that came out with it, but that's another story. The foundation though, it's bomb. We made it to the top 5. We made it to the top 5. Top 5. Oh, oh, oh. You know in the Jackson 5 where they go like that, they put their hand on their knee, then they point, hey. So top 5. Number 5, KEVYN Foundation Balm. I love this foundation. It looks like a whipped air mousse foundation on my skin, and I did my review without watching anybody else's reviews, and I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be like everybody's new favorite foundation. This foundation is beautiful. It looks so pretty on my skin. It does not emphasize texture. The colors in KEVYN's foundations and complexion products always match so well with me. Like, they really get golden neutral people, which not a lot of brands do, but they get it. And this foundation wears so well, and it looks so airbrushed and whipped and just flawless. It just was a beautiful foundation. But then I started looking at other people's videos, and they were like, no, I hate this foundation. I'm like, were we using the same foundation? Like, were you using it in the exact same way that I was? Like, how can you hate this? And this foundation just looks so pretty, and it was so beautiful and so satiny. And so I love it. But like I said, not everybody did. But I was in the category of people that were 100% here for it. So I love it, and it is one of my top 5 foundations for 2019. Number 4 is the Hourglass Seamless Finish Liquid Foundation. If you are anything like me, you are confused as to why this foundation was on this list, because I personally feel like I've had this foundation for years, but apparently I just got it this year. Like, I feel like this foundation has always been in my collection, but apparently not. Or I at least thought this foundation came out last year, but it's just my imagination running away with me. I love this foundation if I want a full coverage slay. But the thing that I like the most about this foundation is the fact that it is not drying. So it is a full coverage foundation, but it still has a hint of hydration to it, which I love, but not too much to where it feels like your skin can't breathe, because sometimes if a foundation is too heavy and is full coverage, you are gonna have a breakout tomorrow. It is almost for certain. It doesn't matter what kind of skin type you have, your face is gonna be like, I can't breathe, ma'am. But this is also one of those foundations that a lot of other people did not like, but then also a lot of other people did like. It's one of those things that you have to try out for yourself, but I'm telling you, I like it. We made it to the top 3. I can't believe we're here. Yay! So my number 3 pick is the Beauty Bakery Instant Bake Aqua Glass Foundation. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. This foundation is so nice, and it does everything that the name says it's going to do. You all know how glass skin has been in for the past 2 years. People just want their skin to look reflective and young and youthful and polished. This foundation, it does it. This foundation is so freaking pretty that whenever I put it on, I do not need that much foundation, which is shocking because of the consistency. When you touch this foundation, you're going to be like, oh, this isn't going to give me that much coverage. But then you put it on your face and it has your face looking like, whoa. I love this foundation, and I think that it has solidified a place in my favorite foundations, like, of all time. That's how much I think this foundation is bomb. So definitely try it out if you have not. Okay, so top 2. Number 2. And this recently got bumped to number 2, okay? Before I tried the number 1, I knew that this was going to be my number 1 foundation for the year. But then I tried number 1 and it made the number 1 slot because it was that good. But just know that prior to that foundation, this one was going to be number 1, guys, just because I already knew how bomb I thought this was all year, and I could not put it down. So this is the Chanel Ultra Latent Ultra Wear All Day Comfort Flawless Finish Foundation. How good this foundation is makes up for that long name. So this foundation is so beautiful, it is so radiant, and it takes me back. So I used to be a die-hard Chanel foundation girl. But they discontinued my colors, they've discontinued formulas, and I just was like, just forget it. Until this year, they came back out with another foundation, and I'm like, if they don't have a color for me in one shade, I'm not dealing with it. Because in the past, I have been willing to mix foundations to make the perfect shade, but 2019 Kelsey is not here for that. I'm like, either you have a color for me or you're not here for me, period. And Chanel came through with the fire. This foundation is everything. It is so beautiful on the skin. It makes my skin look filtered, which I absolutely love, which who doesn't love that? Everybody wants their skin to look perfect, and this foundation is just the closest to that for me. And just like the Beauty Bakery foundation, it's now one of my newest all-time favorite foundations. Good job, Chanel. So now we are at the number 1 slot. And I feel like this foundation does not need any introduction at all, because we all know and love this foundation. And I feel like this foundation has been universally loved all across the beauty space all year. Okay? And I bet you so many of you all can already guess which one it is. But just in case you don't know, it is the SHISEIDO. Okay? SYNCHRO Self-Refreshing Lightweight Foundation. This foundation is the one, okay? It does it all. It is perfect on everybody's skin. It is perfect in color. It is perfect in the way that it wears. It is perfect in the way that it applies. Please, SHISEIDO, don't change a thing about this foundation. All I can say is that it is perfect. I don't have not one negative thing to say about this foundation in the slightest. You can wear it without powder, you can wear it with powder, you can wear it upside down, you can wear it on the playground. You can just get your life with this foundation. It is an all-purpose foundation. You can wear this foundation if you need to go pay some tickets. You can wear this foundation if you're going to Sam's Club. You can wear this foundation if you're going to the club in Miami. You can wear this foundation everywhere because it's never going to look like too much foundation and it's never going to look like not enough. It is right there with you, whatever event you have. This foundation is going to be the one that you can reach for. It's that old, reliable, dependable foundation that every time you put it on, you're like, this looks good. And you know, we all need that in our life. We need that with our jeans. We need that with our bras. We need that security blanket. And for me, that is this foundation. If I'm having a bad skin day, I know that I can reach for this foundation and it's not going to emphasize that. If I'm having the best skin day of my life, I know that I can put this foundation on and it's just going to pep me up even higher. So this foundation is just the one. And dare I say, this is one of my favorite products that I bought, period, all throughout the year. So I just think that SHISEIDO did an amazing job. They know what they're doing. I'm excited to try more from the brand. I've tried some SHISEIDO products before, but now I want to dive so deep into SHISEIDO that I want to go visit their headquarters. Like, if they could just invite me out, I want to see who is responsible for creating this perfect foundation, because I have a few more missions for you. Because if you're able to create this right here, I feel like you're capable of creating everything so much better. This foundation took all of the elements that I love from all of my other foundations and put it into one bottle. So no longer do I have to worry about mixing to find a foundation this finish. This one gave it to me. This one is like if I mixed a really matte foundation that I love and a really dewy foundation that I loved, but I also don't want it to be that weird consistency. I want it to be satiny, but I also don't want it to be too dry, but I also don't want it to be too dewy. This is it. This is it. So on that note, that is where I'm going to leave you. These are all of the foundations that I tried in 2019, and it took me an entire year to try all of these foundations. It sounded like a lot saying it, but it was even more work trying all of these foundations. But I do it for you guys because I want you guys to be able to make the most knowledgeable decision on what products you want to try. So I go in depth and I try to try almost everything that comes out on the market. So I want to know what your favorite foundations were for 2019. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a new one. It can be new to you. And let me know if I surprised you with any of my top favorites. I look forward to reading what you guys have to say as per usual. And I will check you all in my very next video, which will be super, super soon. Smooches. Bye.